Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. And once again, welcome to all the people here and also people who are joining online. Just as our Vajira has recited, it is customary to recite this verse. So you will continue with every Dhamma discourse. As you know, that after his supreme enlightenment, Lord Buddha was contemplating about whether to teach the Dhamma or not, because this Dhamma is very subtle, not very easy to understand or grasp, and beings with a lot of craving in their mind cannot find out, cannot understand. So then, and of course there must be someone to request as well to teach the Dhamma. So the Brahma Sahampati, who was the ruler of the Brahma realm, came down and requested Lord Buddha, just as was recited right now, that there are beings with little dust in their eyes. They will understand the Dhamma, so please teach the Dhamma out of compassion for such beings. So, at the very beginning itself, it was made very clear that beings with little dust in their eyes means one whose level of defilement is low, one whose level of craving is low, they will understand and appreciate. Whereas if beings have a lot of craving, if their minds are full of defilements, it is not possible for them to grasp the Dhamma. Because mind is busy, mind is burdened with the defilements. So mind cannot grasp the subtle Dhamma. Dhamma is about understanding the craving itself, understanding the non-self. For example, when we say everything we do with a view of self, we eat food, I am eating. We drink water, I am drinking. We walk, I am walking. We talk, I am talking. We sit, I am sitting. Everything that we do in our lives is associated with this I, a very strong I, for example. So, a view of self, I. Everything that we do is primarily done with this I. Lord Buddha says, everything is anatta, non-self. Body is not self, mind is not self. If body is self, then we can say, body will be like this, body will not be like this. It will not change. It will be according to our wishes if it is self. Mind is also like this. We can say our mind will think like this, our mind will not think like this. But that is also not possible. Mind thinks in its own way, body works in its own way. Body is not the self, mind is also not the self. But then when we do things, primarily with a view of self. So when we have the self, then automatically the craving will arise. When you think, I will do this, I will gain this, I will lose this, then I is there. Then there will be craving. If you want to gain, there will be craving for something I want. If you think I will lose this, there is craving. I don't want to lose. So both ways the craving will be there because this I is there. If there is no I, if people understand. For example, enlightened people, they understand it is anatta. It is anatta. Rupa anatta, Vedana anatta, Sanya anatta, Sankhara anatta, Vijnana anatta. These five aggregates: body, feelings, sensations, perceptions, mental factors, consciousness, everything is non-self. So that's why there is no clinging left. When it is non-self, perfectly understood, then there is no feeling of I. If there is no feeling of I, there is no clinging. There is no clinging, then beings are freed through non-clinging. Through non-clinging. So, there are several discourses. For example, Anatta Lakhana Sutta, first 5 disciples of Lord Buddha. Panchabhagya Bhikkhu, Venerable Anyakonyano, and Venerable Vappa, Venerable Bhadya, Venerable Assaji, Venerable Mahanama. First 5 disciples were the first 5 enlightened monks also. He gave them this Anatta Lakhana Sutta, discourse on non-self. So he taught that about the body and the mind. Now no self here. And when they understood the non-self, they were very developed, highly developed monks, and when they were listening to this discourse, they were already Sotapannas of all 5 of them. So as they were listening, they were also meditating, and they understood the anatta perfectly. All is empty. No self in the body, no self in the mind, no self anywhere else. So their mind, so at the end of the discourse it is said, their minds were freed through non-clinging. So all the defilements, greed, hatred, ignorance, like that, everything just fell off. It just fell off. Like if a tree, if there is a tree and the tree dies, when the tree dies, first the leaves become dry and fall off. Then after some time the branches fall off, and then the tree also slowly, gradually decays and falls down. So for the Panchabhagya bhikkhus, their defilements also. Because trees surviving on what? The nutriments that it can derive from the soil, the sunlight for photosynthesis, such things. So trees surviving with these things. If these things are not there, it is all dried up. There is no nutriment on the soil. There is no sunlight. Then the tree dries up, becomes a dead tree. Then it falls down. Similarly, when beings understand everything is non-self deeply, as you are listening, as I am talking, in this also we have a sense of self. But then when you practice dana, sila, bhavana deeply, then you see, as I am talking now, this is also not self. This intention is not self. This awareness is not self. No self. So then the force is left, no force, no energy left to go further. For beings unenlightened, they have energy, ignorance and craving. That pushes. When you think in the mind, it pushes. When you speak with your mouth, it pushes. When you act with the body, it pushes. With this ignorance and craving. And then there is non-self. When the non-self is understood thoroughly, then no pushing. What to push, whom to push. This is also not self. When you deeply realize, this is also not self. Even this speaking, this intention, nothing. Then what to ask, what not to ask. What to like, what not to like. Then the force is gone. then no more going. So this is Nibbana. But then before that, Nibbana doesn't appear like that, no? Before that, people must develop their mind correctly. They must develop. There are these 37 factors of enlightenment. Maybe later on we'll do a kind of series or something. There's 37 factors of enlightenment. It's very big, so not possible to tell all the factors, explain all the factors here right now. But one of the very important factors, all factors are important, where is called Satta Bojjhanga, 7 factors of enlightenment. So what are the things that are required to be practiced, and what are the fundamental characteristics of an enlightened person as they become enlightened? What becomes their fundamental characteristic, their nature, the way they behave? These are the 7 characteristics, 7 they attain. They practice, they fulfill it to the highest level, they become enlightened, then that becomes their nature. They live with these 7 qualities. Satta Bojjhanga, Bodhi Anga, part of enlightenment. Body part, like body parts. First is Sati, mindfulness. You must have heard many times. Sati. To be aware. To be aware at the present moment. You cannot be aware in the past. What happened, you can remember. It happened like this, it happened like this. But you are not aware. You can only be aware at this moment. Like when you see the breath. In-breath comes in. You are aware, this is in-breath. Out-breath goes out, this is out-breath. So being aware here and now. But that's not all. That's not Sammasati. For example, there is a robber. There is a robber. He knows at this time, at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the night, some 1 or 2 persons passes through this road. They are wealthy people. Every day they pass through this road. So the robber has gathered information. So he is waiting to ambush them, attack them, rob them, or if necessary kill them. If they come, they try to prevent. So he is waiting. He also has mindfulness there. Now it is 9:30. They are about to come. He is fully aware, fully focused there. But that's not Sammasati. That's not right mindfulness. What Lord Buddha said? He said we need to develop the right mindfulness. When the mindfulness is rooted in greed or hatred, then it is not right mindfulness. It is wrong mindfulness. When the mindfulness is rooted in non-greed, non-hatred, then it is right mindfulness, Samma Sati. So, in the Maha Satipatthana Sutta also, if you read, you will find Vinayal, every time anything with regard to he observes this, he observes this, he observes this, and after that, Lord Buddha mentions like this: Vinaya loke abhijjado manassang. How he observes, having abandoned the craving or clinging, craving and the aversion, or liking and disliking, not going with the craving of liking, not going with the craving of disliking. That's how he observes. That's how he observes. So, this is that Samma Sati, right mindfulness. So, Sati, mindfulness or awareness, to be here at this time, at this moment, knowing things as they are, but not just knowing things as they are, knowing things as they are without getting bothered by liking or disliking, just knowing things. This is so fundamentally different from our normal behavior. We all know things. People say something about us, we know. If they say good things about us, we know. If they say bad things about us, we know. We know. If they help us, we know. If they harm us, we know. But then when we know this, it's also associated with either liking or disliking, love or hate. That's how we know. So then it is never right knowing, not the right kind of awareness, not samma sati. When we know, praise we know, but we don't grasp at it. Blame we know, we don't grasp at it. That's the right way of knowing. Samma sati. Then the second factor, very briefly I am explaining. Even within the Samma Sati there are 4 Satipatthanas. That itself is part of these 37 factors of enlightenment. Kaya Anupassana, Vedana Anupassana, Chitta Anupassana and Dhamma Anupassana. 4 types of mindfulness. Being aware of the body, being aware of the feelings, being aware of the mind, and being aware of the mental phenomena. Various wholesome, unwholesome, liberating to enlightenment, liberating to samsara, leading to enlightenment, leading to rebirth, and all kinds of mental phenomena. So, and another important thing about sati, what did Lord Buddha said, Samma Sati? Body and mind, and things associated with the body and mind like feelings, etc. That's what he said. Kaya, Vedana, feeling, body, feeling, mind and mental factors. That's all we have. What we have? We have this body and mind. And when we say right mindfulness, Lord Buddha says focus here on this body and mind without liking and disliking. Without liking and disliking, focus right here. That's right mindfulness. What does it lead to? It leads to the understanding of this body and mind. Body is changing, mind is changing. Body is unsatisfactory, mind is unsatisfactory. And finally, body is non-self, mind is non-self. So wisdom of non-self again. This practice of Satipatthana leading to wisdom of non-self. Then wisdom of non-self means you are liberated. That's why Lord Buddha says, no? This 4 Satipatthana, when it is practiced completely, thoroughly, then it will surely lead to enlightenment. Because of this, because it leads to the complete understanding of non-self, anatta, and then automatically a person is enlightened. Then Dhamma Vichaya, second factor, investigation into the Dhamma. We investigate whatever happens right here. All the moods and feelings and thoughts and emotions that we are experiencing or we experience, we investigate their nature. Their nature is to arise and stay for some time and then pass away. That's the nature of all physical phenomena and mental phenomena. Some of them stay for a little longer and pass away. Some of them stay for a little shorter and pass away. But pass away nonetheless. So investigation into the all mental and physical phenomena starts with oneself. It cannot start outside. Now you look at these doors, windows, pillars, tables, chairs. Look at them. This is anicca, this is dukkha, this is anatta. If you start like this, then that will not help to deeper wisdom. Because you are not experiencing that table, chair, pillar, doors, windows. What are you experiencing? Your bodily phenomena and your mental phenomena. That's all. We can only experience that much. Whatever experience through the body or experience through the mind. More than this, nothing we experience. No? So, whatever experience through the body and mind, this is what we investigate. When you investigate, we know body is made up of these four elements: solidity, liquidity, gas, heat. Four characteristics: water element, heat element, air element, earth element. When we know these elements, we investigate, we know they are also not self. They constitute, our body has parts that are hard or soft, and then there is liquid, then there is gas inside, then there is heat in the body. When a person dies, when somebody dies, they stopped breathing. They stop breathing first. So the air element goes out. Stop breathing means air element goes out. The body becomes stiff. Body cannot, then the dead person cannot move around, no? It's just a dead body. We say so and so's dead body. But then that so and so, that being no longer there, is just a dead body. We are associated, we have a view of self. This was my father or mother. So we attach in that way. But ultimately, whatever whom you call the father or mother, that person exists now there in that body? That being? No, it's just Rupakanda. Just Rupakanda. Not the father and mother or anyone else. So first they stop breathing, and then the air element goes out. Air element is necessary for our movements, bodily movements. So air element is not there, body doesn't move. Then heat element goes out, body becomes cold. So the elements are gradually going back to the nature where it belongs to. Then you keep the body for too long, then it starts decomposing. Water and liquid start coming out. Water element goes out. Then solid parts remain for some time. Bones, etc. Solid parts. And then they also disintegrate, become mixed with the soil, like this. So four elements go back to their places, respective places. That's the nature of the body. If it was your four element, you are the owner of this four element, then you could say, now that I'm going to die, I will carry these four elements to my next life. But they go back to their places. So, investigation here about the body, about the mind, their nature. So mind is conditioned phenomena, body is conditioned phenomena. So we understand. Amavichaya, virya, effort. So effort, very important. We need to put the effort to understand, because these things are very deep and subtle. Not that you can just read the books, body is four element, and you understand body is four element. Huh? You don't understand this like this. Or body has air element, body has water element. We don't understand by reading books. So we need to practice the Dhamma. That's where the effort comes in. Whether it is dana, whether it is sila, whether it is bhavana. we need to make some effort. Effort to reduce the unwholesome tendencies. For example, in the case of dana, we reduce the greed or attachment and craving. We develop a mind of generosity, mind of metta. If we have metta only, then only we can give. Otherwise, if we have hatred towards someone, we cannot give anything. So we reduce our greed, we develop our generosity, we develop our metta. That's where dana comes from. So every time you do dana, understand the right purpose, to reduce the greed, to reduce the craving, to develop a mind of loving kindness. That's why we must practice this generosity. So that's a deeper meaning of generosity, or sila, ethical conduct, which is good for ourselves, good for other people. There also you are letting go of the unwholesome tendencies. Then meditation, bhavana, when you are practicing meditation, at a deeper level, we are able to let go of these subtle defilements. So it's all about letting go. When you let go more and more, you are lighter and lighter. That's the effort is. The whole effort of practicing Dhamma is to be lighter. Lighter and lighter from the burden of defilements. That's the practice of Dhamma. We make ourselves lighter. What makes us heavier? The defilements. When we put them down through the practice of Sila Samadhi Panya or Dana Sila Bhavana, whatever you want to call, then that makes us lighter. When we are lighter, it is easier to understand. Understand the true nature of the body and mind, of the Panchakhanda everywhere, inside, outside. When you understand here these four elements in your body, then you can understand it outside as well. You can understand whatever is here, outside same. But outside, seeing outside, you don't know the inside. But knowing the inside, you can see the same thing outside. That's the beauty of it. Because seeing inside, we have wisdom. Seeing outside, we have just intellectual understanding. That's the difference. Seeing inside, we have wisdom. Then the wisdom is everywhere. Whatever you look at, you can relate to that wisdom. When you see anatta, then everybody you talk, everybody you deal with, for example, enlightened persons, they understand anatta perfectly. After that, whatever they deal with the most wretched person or most noble person. They deal in the same way. Their mind, this is wretched fellow, I must hate him. This is noble person, I must love him. Such things do not exist. Why? Because this is also anatta, this is also anatta. So, but that comes from our effort. So our generosity, our morality, our meditation, it comes from that effort. Four right efforts. Restraining against the unwholesome and abandoning of the unwholesome, restraining and abandoning of the unwholesome, sangvara and bahana, and then bhavana, developing the wholesome qualities, and also anurakkhana, protecting them. These are four right efforts. So that effort we must give. Lord Buddha says, Tumehi kichang atapang akkhataro tathagata. Whatever you have to do by yourself. Whatever you have to do yourself. I will not do this for you. Very clearly he says. Tumehi kichang, you must make the effort. Tumehi kichang atapang akkhataro. My job is to tell you and teach you, that's all. Guide you. You do this, after that you do this, you do like this, don't do like this. That's all. To instruct you. More than this, I will not. Patipanna pamukhanti jhaino mara bandhana. One who has made the effort, sincere effort, practices meditation, jaino, and practices the wholesome qualities, develops them to the highest level, they can cut the fetters of Mara. They can be liberated. If you make it like this, if you put forth the effort like this, you will be liberated. People can ask you, is it possible to be enlightened even now? You can safely tell them, it is possible. Dhamma is akaliko, timeless. Whether it practiced at the time of Lord Buddha or now, it is still the same. If you do it correctly, if you do it in accordance with the instructions of Lord Buddha, it will still give you result. Minimum sotapanna you can become. You can become. All of you. If you really make the effort. That chance is there. But it is up to us whether we really do that or not. The effort. Then piti. Piti is that rapture. So as you practice meditation, sometimes you experience the lightness of the body, or body become bigger, body becomes smaller, all kinds of things you experience sometimes. Or goosebumps, or very lights like floating in the air, all kinds of things. It comes because that time our mind has very less amount of defilements. Our greed, hatred, ignorance, all kinds of defilements are not active. They are suppressed. Our mind is not associated with them. So we experience this lightness or floating in the air or all kinds of things, or light or this and that, Because the mind is not associated with. Again, mind goes back to the defilements, it is gone. Piti. So it's a good indication as you practice meditation, as you listen to the Dhamma. If you mindfully listen to the Dhamma very deeply, with full attention, full awareness, then you can understand. In the process of listening, you can understand what is being spoken. That wisdom appears, maybe partially, maybe fully, that very moment itself. That also gives rise to piti, rapture, happiness. So that is an indication that you are doing it correctly. If you are listening to the Dhamma Discourse and you experience such feelings, or if you are meditating, you are experiencing such feelings, means your mind is not burdened with defilements too much at that time. It's an indication. It's a very good indicator that yes, okay, if this is there, then there is, it is not being done incorrectly, it is being done correctly. Then pasadhi, after that piti, but piti is too much, sometimes up and down. And then as you keep practicing more, developing more, pasadhi, tranquility. So that rapture or delight that fades away, what it is replaced by a tranquil state of mind. When we are experiencing this rapture initially, we are attached to it, we grasp at it. This is so good. I feel so light. It feels like my body is floating in the air. And then when you grasp at it, again mind goes back to the defilements. Then as you become expert, as you become skillful in this, then you don't grasp. You see, this has come, this will stay for some time, this will go away, no big deal, nothing to be bothered so much. So that it sort of eases out, leading to tranquil mind, tranquility, peacefulness. Then your mind is tranquil. When it is very tranquil, very, very tranquil. Have you ever seen a lake in a big mountain, like a big mountain lake? If you have seen anyone, then you will understand. Like in the high mountains, sometimes there are lakes, very still, very, very still. You throw a small piece of stone or something, there will be ripples, and then again it will come down. So that's when it is very still, doesn't move at all, the water, no ripples, nothing. So that's the passaddhi, tranquility. When the mind is like this, doesn't move. And then one sense impression, sense object appears, sense impression appears, it moves. Something through the eye or ear or nose or tongue or body or mind. Something appears through any of these 6 sense doors, then it moves. But if this passaddhi is strong, then it doesn't bother much. It then goes back to tranquility again. And then if this tranquility is further developed, then it leads to samadhi, absorption. Mind is fully absorbed with the object of meditation. It's fully absorbed. It doesn't involve with anything anymore. Maybe for a short time. It can happen for a few seconds. It can happen for a few minutes. It can happen for hours together. Initially, maybe it will happen for a shorter time. But then, till the time mind is in samadhi, then it isn't affected or bothered about anything. No good, no bad. It just stays with the meditation object, one-pointed. It's the peaceful unification or collectedness of the mind. Mind is peacefully collected and unified together, right there. Not a part of it here, not a part of it there, a little bit, so nothing, just fully firm and stable. Samadhi. That's very important. Because all this understanding of anatta, anicca, dukkha, anatta, these are at certain level, they are in front of our eyes. You can see people age. We can see people grow from childhood to young age, to middle age, to old age. We see that. But sometimes seeing this with the eye may not give rise to much wisdom. If that is the case, then people, when people die, somebody dies in the family, and people cry and lament. People cry and lament. I add one more word. People cry and lament unnecessarily. That's all. Unnecessarily. There is nothing to... If you really understood, if people were to really understand, okay, that's at some point of time, this was a baby. Now this is 80 or 90-year-old person. This decay from the birth till now, this is just a process of decay, and then decay leading to breakup. This is normal, not possible to stop. If people have the wisdom, they would remove this unnecessarily. They wouldn't cry and lament. But since people do not understand, they cry and lament unnecessarily. And the funny part is, after crying and lamenting unnecessarily, then they take the body out. They don't even keep it. This was my father, this was my mother. I will keep the body here. Does anyone? Nobody, no? After 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, half a day, no, okay, enough. Now you take it out. So, that is not understood because this samadhi is not there. This peaceful unification, peaceful collectedness of the mind is not there. So the wisdom is not there. We don't understand the impermanence, we don't understand the unsatisfactoriness, we don't understand the non-self. So everything we do is with a view of self. This is my thing, this is my property, this is my family, these are my relatives, these are associated with me, my friends, whatever it is. So associated with self, not non-self. So then what do? We develop this samadhi. So we see this is not self. Even the thought itself, even the thought, this is me or mine, is also not self. That is also not self. Leave alone everything else. Even the thought of this belongs to me, that itself, or this is I or me or mine, even the thought itself is non-self. So, when we understand the non-self truly, then it leads to the final factor, upekha, equanimity. Then your mind is equanimous. There are two ways people can be equanimous. Either through the either they are not so, wisdom is not so sharp at that time, their mind is dull, they don't really understand what is happening around them or within them, and then they become numb. They become numb. So when they become numb, they don't understand what is right, what is wrong, good is happening, bad is happening, no idea. That is the equanimity rooted in ignorance, not knowing the true nature of the body and the mind. But this Bojjhanga equanimity is rooted in perfect wisdom arisen from samadhi. The perfect understanding of anicca dukkha anatta arisen from samadhi, that panya, that wisdom. Based on that, the mind is equanimous. The mind is perfectly equanimous. To the good things, it doesn't bother. Bad things, it doesn't bother. Happy things or sad things, it doesn't bother. Praise or blame, it doesn't bother. Because everything is not me or mine. Nothing to do with I, me or mine. And if this is nothing to do with I, me or mine, what happiness or sadness can I derive from this? Nothing. Nothing. Today, you have all studied a plus b whole square, you know? A square plus 2ab plus b square. All your life, from childhood, 6th standard, 7th standard. Huh? Suddenly tomorrow somebody says, this was a big scam. There was no a, no b. A plus b whole square, but there was no a, no b. Then, what is a square? What is 2ab? What is b square? Nothing. A and b has value, so a square plus 2ab plus b square is value. If a and b doesn't exist, it's a sham. We have been fooled. It doesn't exist. Then what is the value of a plus b whole square? Nothing. Similarly, to understand the wisdom of anatta is just like this. Nothing. When it is nothing, then it is equanimous. Good things, also nothing. Bad things, also nothing. Praise and blame, both are nothing. Nothing to gain from it, nothing to lose from it. nothing to be happy about it, nothing to be sad about it. That's the equanimity, rooted in perfect, liberating wisdom. So these are the 7 factors. Very briefly we have mentioned, very briefly, because this each and every factor is, they're part of enlightenment. They're body parts of enlightenment. So you can imagine how big and profound they are. So we're not possible to explain like this and in such a short time. But anyways, the mindfulness, investigation into the Dhamma, investigation into the reality of life, reality of our everything, mind and body, and effort, rapture, tranquility, samadhi, peaceful collectedness of the mind, and equanimity. These are the 7 factors of enlightenment. So all of us, if we are aspiring for enlightenment, all of us must develop these 7 factors in our lives. We must develop each one in our lives. Then only our mind will be ready to be enlightened, leading to first or second or third or fourth level of enlightenment. So this much we offer to you, the Satta Bojjhanga, and may you all be able to remember, and may you all be able to practice and develop these 7 factors of enlightenment within your hearts, and may you all attain to supreme bliss of enlightenment. Sukhino bhavantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.